sometimes I'll wake up on the wrong side of the bed, see someone's Instagram photo that's just them living the most amazing life, and I just be like, I don't want to see it anymore.
Instagram, a visually oriented social media platform with over 1 billion monthly active users, of which 56.3% are women.
It's hard when you're younger, so hard when you're younger to separate who you are from who you want to be.
The visual content of Instagram might be taxing on the mental health and well-being, and the time spent on the platform can escalate into addiction, often compared to drug abuse.
Compare myself to someone every single day.
I've also done that thing where I like to use that word comparisonitis. It's like a disease.
What lies in the backstage of Instagram? How does it really make women feel?
I would definitely say I do feel pressure to always be doing something, always be posting something.
It impacts the mental health of female users a lot. I'm an active Instagram user. I'm on it a lot, and basically every single day.
I have weeks where I don't go on it at all, and then I have weeks where I'm absolutely glued to it. I'm quite a bad desk scroller, so if I'm waiting for an email to come in, I'll just sit and go.
If you were to ask me this question 2 years ago, when I was right in the middle of starting a new business, I would have said that I would probably have been on it for 3-4 hours a day. This year and the latter end of last year, I became really aware of my usage and what I was doing on it, and how I was, not even just the amount of time I was on, like what was I doing? Was I scrolling? Was I reading aimlessly into things that I probably made me feel rubbish sometimes?
When they designed social media platforms, they have used people who work from, the strip in Las Vegas, thinking about how we can make the user as addictive as possible to the app, so they spend as much time as possible over there. They use the same type of let's say, brain effects, like how to increase your dopamine. So you have that little shot of like a dopamine shot that will keep you spending time on the platform. And I think when you are not really consciously aware of how that's doing that to you, then it's very easy to spend hours and hours on the platform without really realizing afterwards what you've actually done in the last few hours, right? And what worries me is that the way the algorithms are designed is to give you more of what you've liked before. And so it narrows down your perspective and your learning curve of what else is there beyond what you've already been interested in. So it doesn't, first of all, really broaden up your world in the sense that it's teaching you new things or sharing with you new, soulful information to help you grow as a person. It keeps you more narrowed down to your own little box.
There is that factor of comparison with other people. I wouldn't consider myself a full-time blogger, but a lot of my friends do consider themselves full-time bloggers, and there's always that thing where if someone has the same sort of amount of followers as me and they get a brand deal that I wasn't invited on, I'm a bit like, oh, I'm doing something wrong, do you know? And there's always that comparison.
I've also done that thing where I like to use that word comparisonitis. It's like a disease, like when you start to go down that road of comparing yourself to other people, it can really start to get to you. And again, I've made the decision to try and change that, so that's why I limit the amount of time and I'm only on certain pages and all the rest of it. But a couple of years ago, yes, absolutely, I was comparing myself to other people that maybe were in the game so much longer, but it's like, well, I don't have that same success yet, and it's a very, like I mentioned a little bit, there's a real difference between, using people to inspire you. And actually just feeling really rubbish about what you're doing. So I think you have to think about, okay, where am I at just now? How am I feeling? How is my mental health? And then decide from there, you know, what's best for me to be looking at just now. Because you consume it constantly. As soon as you click, boom, there's an image right in front of you, or there's a piece of text, or there's words. It's all going into your psyche, it's all feeding into your energy. Is this good for me? Or is it not? And if you just have that little conversation with yourself, you can really shift up what you're looking at.
I'll see people on Instagram that I look up to, and I'll see them doing all these amazing things, and I think, why can't I do that? And like, why am I not in Bali, or like why am I not sitting on a beach with a cocktail kind of thing? But yeah, I've kind of got to the point where I'm like, that is someone else's life and that is their highlight reel, and it's important to know that that's just not their daily life constantly.
Of course, because of the way that we do social media and we airbrush and we filter, you can't help but compare yourself to a beautiful 21-year-old, gorgeous, talented model, you know, because they are living the life that maybe at one point you wanted to live or whatever, and a lot of it is filtered. A lot of it is that kind of filtered story behind what they're doing, or even the images themselves, and you can't help but go, wow, I'm not there.
Normally, when Instagram wasn't there, you would go maybe to a public event, and then you would meet 10 people who are like doing things that you were doing, or who are like your similar age, and it would just be a smaller group. And now all of a sudden with social media, you have this massive ocean of people who are the same age, who maybe look like you a little bit, who have studied the same thing as you. So it's so seductive in a sense that it's like the perfect place to sneak that competition or that comparison into your system.
You see these photos of like Kendall Jenner, like she's a supermodel, and like you're like, wow, she's the perfect human, and you think, why am I not like that, kind of thing. Yeah. I see people commenting on bigger influencers photos all the time, saying, oh, I wish I looked like you, and I wish I had your life and things like that, and how are you so pretty and things. And it does really impact people in that sense, and it might be quite like a small thing. I'm just saying like, oh, I wish I looked like you, but that will like can escalate.
I've curated my feed so ruthlessly so that if there's somebody who looks like, I know this sounds vicious, who looks like how I would like to look or has a life that I would like to have, that I don't follow people like that, because realistically I know that my body's never going to look the way that women who have had plastic surgery or who have the time and money to go to the gym like 5 times a week or whatever. So I have to work really hard to eliminate that aspect. And I think that for younger girls who maybe just pour themselves into social media and what they feel that they should look like, and maybe don't have that self-control to think, oh, well, that's not ever going to be me. They'll just look and they'll just think, I want that, I want to be like that, and they'll just copy, and it's not right and it's not healthy. And it's hard when you're younger, it's so hard when you're younger to separate who you are from who you want to be.
If you've just got scrolls and scrolls and scrolls of beautiful women who are a size 6 and you're a size 12 and you want to be a size 6, that's not going to be able to be in any way beneficial. You know, that's not inspiring anymore. What's inspiring is looking at women that are the same size as you, that are doing amazing things.
I know that a lot of girls, maybe we go online to kind of self-sabotage ourselves. So if we really believe like, oh, I'm not good enough, I don't look good enough physically, or I'm never gonna have those clothes she's wearing, or I'm never gonna be the one traveling, I'm never going to be the one being healthy and fit, you kind of go on live to kind of prove yourself that, oh, it's true, like she can do it, but it's not for me. And this is kind of a way of self-sabotaging yourself. And as humans, of course, we kind of like the pain and the suffering, so we kind of do this for ourselves. And I think we're not aware about this behavior, like the way that you think about yourself and your limiting thoughts. We're always looking for evidence to prove that we're right. We always want to be right. So this is a way that unconsciously, a behavioral pattern that we're doing to confirm that what we think about ourselves is true.
I'm not always like 100% happy like that, and I only show that on my Instagram. I'm never showing pictures of like me crying or angry, but yeah, I think people always do make that persona. They want to show that they are this positive and happy-go-lucky person. You only post things that you want other people to see, so you weren't just gonna post, as I said, like a picture of you crying or whatever, unless you're like an influencer who's really like up on mental health and they want to show that side of them. But most of the time it's not like that.
I think people have a tendency to show the good sides of themselves and what they're doing, but I also know friends of mine who are in dark places and they maybe don't necessarily want to put that negativity out there. And I think there's a fine line to toe, because sometimes I'll talk about myself here. I suffer quite badly from depression, and I'm aware that it needs to be touched on so that it's normalised, but also when it gets to the point that people who are more impressionable look up to you and think, oh, that's dark, that's edgy. I don't think there's so much of that now, but there definitely was a few years ago. You do kind of have to curate yourself, because it's almost like protecting your audience.
You can hide behind all these platforms, can't you? And I try my very best to talk about the hard stuff as well as the good stuff, because I know that there's people out there that might be watching me. So they may think, for example, that my life looks quite perfect from the outside, and I'm aware that people do comment on my posts and things. So I try and showcase the times where I'm not having the best time as well. I think it's really important to be transparent and be like, do you know what, I'm suffering with my mental health this month, this quarter, whatever it might be. And also celebrate your wins as well. I think it's important to have that balance.
I've seen this time and time again where people, you know, they have an amazing life on social media. They're so fun, they're so outgoing, and they seem like they have really interesting thoughts on the world. But then when you meet them in real life, it's like it doesn't come out of that, you know? And it's not that it's not there, but it's more that maybe it's easier sometimes to, you know, express these things on the platform. I think it's, you know, sketching that perfect version of yourself online is making you live your real life in a way that you want to feed that perfect image of it. And it withdraws like the attention of you being really present with your now and growing in the now and expanding your soul and you know, your life in the now, because the now is focused on feeding the image we've created online. And so, you know, you see this when people are, you know, even influencers who go to a restaurant, they order the meal that's looks good or is like the prettiest meal on the menu, right? So they can post it on their Instagram feed. And this is just a very minimal example, but even when you're like spending quality time with your friends, people are just focusing on making photos, making videos, so they can feed that into their social media image again, instead of really enjoying and growing in the present, connecting over there. So I think the danger is that we stop growing in the present because we're focused on keeping up with the image that we're creating online, which is disconnected from our true self.
You know, we have an identity of ourselves that we have been creating since we were a child, things that we've being taught, things that we've experienced, and we store as true. So we always try to fit this. But then, of course, we have different environments and different surroundings. So we do want to fit in and belong in every different surrounding. So I guess that we do frame or change a little bit of our identity so we can fit in to what's going on. So I do think that a lot in the online space, especially because no one really knows what's happening in your real world. I mean, it's kind of like towards the outer world. So, you know, you can basically Photoshop yourself and become however you want. You can present yourself as whom you think you should be to get more likes and more love and attention from others. I think that the women who have least worked on their inner self, so people who are not very advanced in their personal growth, that don't know who they are or don't know what their values are, don't know what their principles are, they don't know, you know, they haven't really done this inner work and are kind of lost in identity, as I'd say. I think they're most probably the ones who are going to be having a conflict, because it's like, who am I really, right? So I want to be this imaginary person that I'm creating for myself. This is the desired person I want to be. And then they even start to behave as this, you know, like, you know, some girls probably count how attractive and popular they are by the number of likes they have. So then they automatically have this shift in their behaviors, like, you know, I'm popular because on Instagram I'm really cool and popular, so that means that I'm already a liked person, when, you know, it doesn't really have much to do with their reality. So I think there's a lot of personal work to be done here, of becoming aware of, wait a moment, am I being real to myself? Is this the real me? Do I feel comfortable here? Or am I just doing this or trying to be perfect online to cover up some insecurity or something, some trauma or something that's going on inside me?
I guess in a way I do care about what people think about my posts, and they're probably mostly strangers, because they've most likely come from my YouTube channel and then are following me because they watch that. And so I want to give this same persona I portray on my YouTube channel and then portray it the same on my Instagram account. But I mean, it's not any different to myself in real life. So if more people follow you, that means more people are going to see your photos, and that means maybe more people are going to judge you. So the pressure does kind of kick in if you get more followers.
I would definitely say I do feel pressure to always be doing something, always be posting something. If I don't post something in a day, like even if it's just a story, I'll get stressed because I'll be like, oh my god, everyone thinks I'm boring, everyone thinks I have no friends. I constantly criticise myself for the way that I dress, or the way that I speak, or the way that I move my face when I speak. I think most of my followers are quite good, but there are a few who will message me and hone in on insecurities that I have and that I'm aware of myself and other people will pick up on. And having that, it can make you quite afraid to post. They're just strangers and they shouldn't impact how you live your life and what you do and who you choose to spend time with, but it does.
I do want to be liked. I think most people are like that, really. And I do care deeply about what people think of me. And it's probably because I am so honest with some of the stuff that I've been through and that I've gone through, that I would hope that people were kind and thoughtful and understanding when I'm maybe not being so active or whatever. I think, yeah, I do care.
If someone is if I only get one like, right, or someone says something about my body or about anything like that, how will it affect me? And going in with finding that solid foundation within yourself, so you are just using it maybe like your own journal, knowing that it's okay whatever anybody else thinks, and not needing the validation of other people for you to love your photo first, or for you to love your body first, or to love your life first in general.
To be honest, and this is horrible, but in this world of Instagram influencers, I hate that word so much. Likes are currency and comments are currency, and without that, our livelihood is threatened. When I hit 10,000 at the end of last year, I remember being really, really excited before I did, because I was like, oh, this is really cool, like 10k. And then my Instagram account got switched over to a business account, and I was like, oh, right, okay, I'll try this out. And then it's analytics and how many people have clicked on every post and all this, and there's all these new things that you can track. And now, like, I used to look at a photo I'd uploaded and I'd be like, how many likes has that got? 400, not great. Now I look at a photo and I'm like, oh my goodness, it's got 400 likes, not great. It's got 12 shares, terrible. Like, it's got however many bookmarks and, you know, all this, and like how many people have reached that you didn't follow, and like then what's the hashtags and this. It's just exhausting. It's so exhausting.
I want to say no, but I know in the back of my head, yes, I probably do care about the amount of likes I get. I know if I get a high number of likes, like compared to my, like in ratio compared to my following, then I know it's a good photo and I should probably post something like that again. It shouldn't affect me, and I know it shouldn't, but in the back of my head I'm always thinking about the likes.
I know, just from looking back, what photo will probably get the most engagement. So if the likes were eradicated, I think I would post a lot freer, and it would probably become even more real and raw, because I wouldn't be like, this might not get engagement because it's maybe just a really kind of artistic picture that I love, or a picture of a place and that meant something to me.
In addition, according to a survey conducted with 55 active female Instagram users, 64% of the respondents reported feeling anxious, depressed, or unsatisfied because of Instagram. 59% sometimes compare their lives to lives of people they follow on Instagram. 79% think Instagram is mostly a highlight reel, and 38% reported feeling pressured to present themselves in a certain way on Instagram.
I think it all starts and ends probably with self-awareness and intention setting. I think when it comes to posting yourself, to become really aware of like, well, why am I posting this? And how will it affect me? First, find this space where you feel the confidence in yourself and what you do and about how you look. And then if you're then expressing it on Instagram, it's to inspire other people, to show them, you know, how we can all accept ourselves, and coming from that energy instead of, oh, I don't feel good about myself, I'm going to post now, and then hopefully I will start to feel better about myself with the validation of other people.
So yeah, I would recommend, you know, the person to actually stop for a moment and reflect and ask yourself these questions, like, every time I go online, what emotions are triggering in me? Do I feel comfortable when I see certain images? Do I feel good about myself? Do I feel empowered? Or is it making me feel worse about myself? Is it making me feel anxious? Is it making me feel like I'm not good enough, or I'm not worth it, and that I'm ugly, and that I'm... So I think once you start, you know, reflecting and asking yourself these questions, you will realize, like, okay, actually, I'm not using this tool the right way. You know, how would I rather want to feel, and how can I automatically change my behaviors? I would recommend people using CBT model, cognitive behavior therapy, which is basically your thought patterns, your emotional patterns, and your behavioral patterns. So once you start becoming, you track down like what you're feeling, what you're thinking, how you're behaving in every situation, So you can start finding patterns, and once you see that they're patterns that are not helping you become the person that you want to become or achieve the goals that you have, you know that there's something to be modified there.
Instagram can be a source of inspiration, but it can also be a source of unsatisfaction and anxiety. It is up to every woman to decide if she gives the platform power over herself or not.